for me, I think it's a change in mindset. I think first you have to have an open mind to want to accept change. Some of this change may be a bit scary, but I think a little bit of fearlessness will be good to have. And I think also you perhaps maybe do an assessment of your organization, and decide, some people will follow you on this journey, and some people may not be right for this journey. Of course, the non-politically correct way is fire the suckers who don't believe in your journey. But that's just a joke. Another way is also, and when you do this identification, I mean, you may be the CEO, the leader of the company, I think to understand the people in your organization and the strengths they have. And sometimes, as a leader, you may not be the person who will be the creative doer. But you know what? The creative doers are what I call the hunters, the guys who go out to hunt and get the ideas, go and explore, hidden worlds and capture this mythical beast, right? The hunters. You may not be that creative hunter, creative doer. But you know what you can be? You can be the gatherer. You can be the creative gatherer, the person who protects the family, who nurtures the fragility of the idea at birth and nurtures that. So decide how many of the hunters and gatherers you have in your company, whether you are either this or this, and then you figure out how you can form your company into a way where it can help you innovate the business.
To me, the quickest way to be creative is to look at reshaping your environment. Okay. See, if you take a cucumber and put it in a jar of vinegar, the cucumber tastes like vinegar, right? It literally becomes a pickle, right? It's just a metaphor here. If you take an outstanding person and put him in a mediocre environment, the outstanding person becomes mediocre. If you take a mediocre person and put him in an outstanding environment, the mediocre person becomes outstanding. So environment plays a huge role and creates a great impact in terms of how creative you are and also how productive you are. The second strategy is, if you want to be innovative, very simple, make it a priority, right? How can you be innovative or creative if it's not a priority for you, right? The third, let's say, strategy is to incentivize innovation, right? Reward and incentivize innovation. Because what is the incentive or the motivation for somebody who is in a terrible environment, right? Working for a whole bunch of left-brain people, and he pretty much knows very well that creative ideas are going to get shot. So what is the incentive, even if that person has a lot of ideas, right? So you've got to incentivize and reward innovation. You can't walk away from it, right? To me, the fourth, let's say, strategy would be to have a process for creativity, right? See, how do you expect people to be creative and suddenly innovative if there is no, at least, broad process for it, right? So having a process, a simple toolkit, things like that makes a huge difference. Like a Pixar has got a Pixar style of creative thinking, right? It is true with Apple. It's true with a lot of companies like Lego. So they've got a certain set of ritual, and a particular kind of flow of process to make this happen. To me, the next strategy is It's pretty radical what I'm saying, but I just love this strategy. It is called kill the company. Okay, this is an idea that was created by this lady called Lisa Bodell from Future Think. Let's say a large pharmaceutical company. Actually, it's a real story. Merck, one of the world's largest pharmaceutical companies. They are facing threat from every conceivable direction, including gene-related drugs. Nanotechnology-based drugs. So even drugs are getting not just high tech; they're products of AI. Machine learning and things like that. So this was the techniques she suggested, to a team that wasn't naturally innovative. Guys, you've got so much of time and you've got to brainstorm ideas in terms of how you can kill this company, man. And everybody became creative. They just came alive, right? So it's about killing your own company, strategies to kill your own company. Because when you do an exercise like this, what happens? You come out with strategies that competitors are already working on. Disruptors are already thinking about it. So it helps you become not just defensive in terms of blocking what might happen, but it also helps you sort of make your company future ready. The next strategy is very simple. It's something I touched on earlier, cognitive diversity.
Yeah.
Very easy and simple. One of the reasons why I wanted to bring Hua into our team, right? It is to just look at blind spots, right? That we guys have.
Yeah.
I have, for instance, right?
Yeah.
And to provide the breakthroughs in areas where we sometimes are stuck. Don't take people that fit with your culture. This is the opposite. This is the ultimate nightmare for most HR people. Don't look at whether they fit with your culture. Look at whether they can contribute to the culture.
Right.
There is a paradigm difference between the two.